So, does Etsy Ads actually boost your sales for the holiday season? I tested both out so that you don't have to. So, if you're new here, my name is Indy. I am known as Doodles by Indy on Instagram and TikTok. So, last year I ran Etsy ads on my items for the month of November so that it could hopefully boost my sales in December during the holiday rush. I actually have a video of that in more detail and I'll leave it up here. But to give a recap, let's look at some of the numbers of the Etsy ads that I ran last year. So just to give you a little bit more detail, I ran the ads from November 7th to November 28th. So early November up until about Cyber Monday of last year, and I spent a total of $82. So I initially ran my ads on all my items of like about 40 or 50 items, but then quickly narrowed down to only a few items. And the two items that did really well for me were my Christmas stickers and my Boba Animal keychain bundle. If you look at my December sales, you'll notice that actually those two items were my best sellers for that month. So I don't think it's a coincidence that because I ran ads on those items, it transferred into my best sellers in December. So through ads for the month of November, I totaled out to $86 for the whole month, with $62 coming from the ads itself. So if you're looking at the numbers correctly, like I am, you'll notice that I was actually negative in my ROAS or return on ad spend. I spent $82 in terms of sales coming from the ads, $62. So I lost about $20. But I guess in totality, I did earn about $4, which is basically nothing, I guess, if you look at it in a grand scheme of things, because like I spend so much money on ads and all my products that's only amounting to $4. That's like, again, nothing, and to me, not worth it. But I did end the other video on a good note because, spoiler alert, I made all that money back up in December because with those ads, I was able to kind of boost my sales up in December. Something about like if you sell a lot of certain items, I feel like the algorithm on Etsy is going to play in your favor because they're going to show that item more because they're like, people are looking at it, they're buying it. We might as well show it more often so that we can get those feeds. So at the end of December of last year, I was able to make $132 without any ads for that month. So let's compare it to this year. I didn't run any ads for November or December, so all of these sales are strictly organic. And ironically, I was able to make exactly the same amount as last year. I made $132, but like I said, all these sales were organic and had no advertised run behind them. What's actually interesting though is if you look at the units sold. So last year I sold 55 items, whereas this year I only sold 23 items, which is almost half the amount. It definitely makes sense because last year I mostly sold stickers and I really relied on my bundled keychains to raise up the average retail value, whereas this year I mostly sold higher priced items like my pins, my keychains, and some bundled items. So it took more units to be sold to make the same amount as this year, which we didn't sell as many units. So did ads actually help the amount of units sold? I'm not sure, but let's look at actually the comparison of days that we had orders last year versus this year. And as you can see, it's pretty similar in that we had very high orders the first couple of weeks of December, and the last day that most people would buy gifts or things from your store is around December 19th, which makes sense because they probably want to make sure they have their gifts or whatever they're getting from your store before Christmas. So I think to conclude this video, I think whether you're using Etsy ads or not to boost your sales, it seems to be very consistent, at least for me for the last couple of years, on the days that customers are buying from my shop. I wonder if it's the same for your shop or other people's shops. That is like these first 2 weeks that there is going to be that holiday rush. But if you test it out, let me know if you're seeing similar results. But whether you use Etsy ads or not, don't forget to make your shop clickable. That means having high quality photos, making your description enticing and clear that what it is. Make sure you have competitive pricing so that they're not seeing something super cheap or something that's too expensive. Find like that middle ground that works for both you and the customer. Because at the end of the day, there's going to be so many visits on Etsy during the holiday time period. It's more about how you can stand out and get people to click to your product page and into your shop. So that is it for this video. I hope you learned a lot about using Etsy ads during the holiday time period. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe for more videos on Etsy ads.